I'm Alison, 26. The air in the private dining room at Ciel was thick with tension, a stark contrast to the soft jazz music playing in the background. The crystal chandeliers above cast a warm glow on the table, but all eyes were on me as I sat there, my heart pounding in my chest. My older sister, Olivia, 34, a high-flying corporate lawyer at a top Manhattan firm, had just burst into a fit of laughter. "Oh my God, Alison, your fake black card got declined. This is priceless." Her husband, Ryan, 36, a stockbroker, joined in, his laughter harsh and mocking. "A fake Centurion card that doesn't even work. That's a new low." I could feel my face flush with embarrassment as I looked around at my family. My mom, Grace, 58, elegant in her silk scarf and a simple black dress, looked mortified. My dad, Henry, 60, sat there, his eyes wide with shock. And my younger brother, Ethan, 22, fresh out of college, shook his head in disappointment. The waiter, a young man with a nervous expression, stood by the table. "Ma'am, should I bring the bill to someone else?" he asked quietly. "Just give me a minute," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I reached for my phone, my hands trembling. Olivia, still giggling, asked, "What are you doing?" "Calling your credit card company to ask why your fake card doesn't work." I was about to respond when a man in a sharp suit rushed into the room. I recognized him immediately as Mr. Black, the restaurant's general manager. I'd worked with him on several large-scale events in the past. "Miss Allison," he said, slightly out of breath. "I'm so sorry. I just heard about the payment issue." The laughter at the table stopped abruptly. I looked at him calmly and asked, "Is there a problem with the payment system?" No, the system is fine," he replied. "The issue is that we still owe you $500,000 from last month's catering contracts. Your black card was declined because our accounting department flagged it. We can't charge someone who we already owe money to." The silence that followed was deafening. My dad whispered, "$500,000? Mr. Black consulted his tablet. From the Thompson Industries Gala, the Morgan Stanley private dinner, and the International Art Exhibition reception. All catered through your company, Alison Events." I took a deep breath and said, "That's fine, Mr. Black. Just comp tonight's dinner against the outstanding balance." "Of course, Miss Allison." "Again, my sincere apologies for the confusion," he said, and then hurried away. My mom looked at me, her eyes filled with confusion. "Alison Events? Company?" I nodded. "Yes, Mom. It's the event planning and catering business I've been building for the past 4 years." Olivia's face went completely white. "You own an event planning company?" I looked at her and said, "I own the largest luxury event planning company on the East Coast. We handle corporate galas, private parties, weddings, and cultural events for high-net-worth clients and Fortune 500 companies." Ethan stared at me, his mouth agape. "But you said you were a consultant." I shrugged. "I said I consult with people about events, which is technically accurate." Olivia demanded, "How large is this company?" I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app, turning the screen so they could all see it. Last year's revenue was $47 million. This year, we're on track for $68 million. My dad's eyes widened. $68 million? I nodded. Our client list includes 12 Fortune 100 companies, 43 high-net-worth individuals with assets over $50 million, and we're the exclusive event planners for the United Nations, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and the New York Symphony. Ryan was frantically typing on his phone. "Alison Events. Holy, you're Alison the Alison." Forbes 30 Under 30. Named one of New York's most influential event planners. Estimated net worth of $25 million. $28 million as of last quarter. I corrected quietly. Olivia looked like she was going to be sick. "But you live in Queens." I smiled. "I live in a penthouse in Long Island City with a private terrace overlooking Manhattan. The building has its own helipad. It's convenient for getting to events in the Hamptons." Just then, the waiter returned with a bottle of champagne. Compliments of the house, Miss Allison. Manager Black wanted to apologize again for the payment confusion. As he poured the champagne into our glasses, the silence at the table stretched on. My family was clearly struggling to process the information. My dad finally spoke. I don't understand, Allison. You're worth $28 million, and you let us think you were struggling. I looked at him and said, I never said I was struggling. I live simply because I work long hours and don't have time for material possessions. I dress modestly because my clients need to focus on their events, not on my outfit. And I drive a regular car because it's reliable and doesn't draw attention. My mom's eyes welled up with tears. But why didn't you tell us? I took a deep breath. Because I wanted you to love me for who I am, not what I've achieved. I wanted to build something completely on my own without anyone being able to say I succeeded because of family connections or help. Ryan pointed out, we don't have connections in event planning. I nodded. Exactly. Which is why I knew that whatever I built would be entirely my own accomplishment. Olivia was still staring at her phone, reading news articles about my company. You planned the Rockefeller Foundation Gala, the one that was covered in the New York Times, and the Gates family wedding, and the International Peace Summit. I smiled. Yes, I planned, managed, and executed them flawlessly, just like I've done for 200 other major events in the past 4 years. My dad reached across the table and took my hand. Sweetheart, I'm so proud of you, but I'm also confused. Why all the secrecy? I gestured around the table. Because I was afraid that once you knew about the money, you'd start seeing me differently. That suddenly my opinions would matter more, and you'd treat me like someone important instead of just Alison. My mom said firmly, You're someone important. You're our daughter. I looked at her and asked, But would you have said that an hour ago when you thought I was a struggling consultant? The question hung in the air, and we all knew the answer. Olivia said quietly, I feel like an idiot. I spent the entire evening lecturing you about money management when you're worth more than Ryan and I will probably make in our entire careers combined. I squeezed her hand. You're not an idiot. You were trying to protect me from what you thought was financial irresponsibility. Ryan was still scrolling through his phone. According to this article, you employed 200 people full-time and another 500 contractors. 237 full-time employees as of last week. I corrected. We just hired a new creative director. Ethan shook his head in amazement. You have employees? I nodded. I have office space in Manhattan and the Hamptons, a warehouse facility in Queens, and partnerships with vendors across the country. And you thought I was broke. Olivia laughed despite herself. Not broke, just not interested in flaunting wealth. Mr. Black returned to the table with a leather folder. Miss Allison, I've taken care of tonight's charges. They've been applied to your outstanding balance. Is there anything else we can do for you this evening? I thought for a moment and then said, Actually, Mr. Black, I'd like to book the private wine cellar for next month. I'm planning a surprise anniversary party for my parents. Of course, how many guests? He asked. Make it 100. I want to invite the extended family, I replied. Consider it done. I'll have my events coordinator contact your office tomorrow, he said, and then left. My mom was crying openly now. A surprise anniversary party. 35 years deserves something special. I smiled. I was thinking a jazz trio, your favorite flowers, and that chocolate dessert Dad loves. My dad started to say something about the cost, but I interrupted him. Dad, I plan $12 million events for clients. Your anniversary party will be the most important event I plan all year, and cost won't be a factor. Because you're my family, and I love you. My dad raised his glass with slightly shaking hands. To my daughter Alison, who apparently has been surprising us for years. I corrected him. To family. And to the people who love you, even when they think you're making terrible financial decisions. To family, everyone echoed. And for the first time all evening, the laughter around our table was warm and genuine. As we finished our champagne, Ethan said, I have one more question. The black card that got declined is completely real, right? I nodded. Centurion cards get declined when the merchant owes you more money than you're trying to spend, which happens more often than you'd think in the catering business, with all the upfront expenses and delayed payments. Olivia shook her head. My sister, the secret millionaire. Not secret anymore. My mom suddenly asked, Are you happy? With everything you've built, all the success, are you actually happy? I looked around the table at my family. These were the people who had raised me, supported me through college, and worried about my financial future even when they had no idea about my real situation. I smiled and said, I love what I do. I love the challenge of creating perfect events, the satisfaction of exceeding clients' expectations, the thrill of managing complex logistics. And I love being able to use my success to give Dad the birthday dinner he deserves. At Ciel, the best restaurant in New York, because that's where he deserves to celebrate his 60th birthday. My dad smiled through his tears, even if his children thought his daughter couldn't afford it. Olivia added, especially because his children love him enough to worry about financial responsibility. Ryan raised his glass again. To Alison, event planning mogul and apparently the most successful person any of us know. My mom corrected, to Alison, who remembered that family is more important than keeping secrets. As we left Ciel that evening, walking out into the cool Manhattan night, I realized that some revelations are indeed worth the temporary embarrassment they cause. My family knew the truth now, and everything I'd built suddenly felt more real, more meaningful. Olivia linked her arm through mine and said, Next time, maybe just lead with, I'm a multi-millionaire, instead of letting us worry about your fake credit cards. I laughed. Deal. As long as you promise to keep worrying about my financial decisions, successful or not, I still need my big sister looking out for me. Always, she said, and for the first time in a long time, I felt truly at peace.